And now, I'd like to welcome our guest artists, Sarah Lawrence and Jessica Schroeder, for a matinee musicale piece commissioned in honor of in celebration of our 125th anniversary. So, welcome. Thank you for that. I'd like to invite Sasha back to the stage. Before we break for intermission, we're just going to have a little discussion with the composer and the artists about what goes into commissioning a piece and composing and how to make that happen. So I'd like to invite our artists back to the stage.
So special to be part of a world premiere, right? Only happens once. Every time I come to Minnesota, I'm struck by the local pride. There's quite a strong Minnesotan spirit, and this piece sort of sums it up. And tell us about what it felt like to look at this poem for the first time. Another bit of local pride. Of course, our poet was the Poet Laureate in 21-22, and this poem is all about generosity and gratitude, and how do you take that and create a musical language and one as beautiful as you have? Tell us about that process.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you both for an amazing performance. So, whenever I receive a poem, I read it a few times over a period of time to really try to digest it, and if my feelings about the poem are consistent, I feel like I'm onto something. And I started with this by taking the poem itself at the piano and just mapping out the melody, the arc. And then I went back and created some harmony, and the melody changes as the harmony gets put into it, but the overall arc is sort of there, and I kind of tweak it from there.
Felt like there was a lot of upward motion, and it felt like there was this, in a way, you created a musical language for gratitude and arc. So I wondered if that was intentional, or it's really beautiful. And there were quite a few moments of melismas, or where you have a word repeated with a sort of added notes, multiple notes over one syllable, and it had an improvisatory feel. So I want to ask our artists about that, because it was quite tricky, but it sounded easy. You guys made it sound effervescent. Tell us a little bit about the difficulty of the rhythm, because there's a lot going on in your part.
Sure, thank you. It's probably the most complicated rhythm I've ever had to learn, but then I had to dissect it and kind of make it as precise as possible, then to make it sound easy and like ripples in water is what I was going for. So it was a process for sure, but I'm glad I got to do it.
It was stunning. And Sarah, tell us about, this must be the first time you've sung a language like Dakota, and I wondered what that experience is like, and in terms of your process, and also just about learning a new piece. Maybe you guys can tell us about your collaboration a little bit in finding a new work and making it your own.
I talked about this a little bit with Wendy the other night, and we've been talking about this. I often come to music through the language first, and before learning the written rhythms, I want to make sure that I know how a phrase would sound if I said it. And that, of course, changes if you're in an opera or something and you have dialogue with somebody that's shaped that way. But I do a lot of just speaking lyrics. And this, Jessica had so much going on, sometimes nines and threes, fours, and sometimes then sevens and threes, and then they would switch hands, and then I'd have to find where my rhythm landed in that texture. And so you notice that it's slow. so we worked really hard to make sure that we were saying whole phrases that sounded like phrases while letting her fingers play all the notes that they had to play. Is that an answer? I'm not sure. I called Gwen, I called the poet, just to hear somebody say Wopidaye, and I learned where the accent falls, and she said they're just Spanish vowel sounds, so that wasn't hard to mimic. And we do hear Anishinaabe here from time to time, so we have that sound, and but she's Dakota, so she said, I'm not Anishinaabe. But it was good to hear it spoken. When you do a new piece, there's nothing, there's no recording we have computer recordings, but they hurt the ears. They're not fun to listen to. So yeah, I just listened, and we just worked hard to make sure that we were serving the textures and colors that Wendy wanted to create, and the text as well.
How beautiful, and it hits a certain note this month, Indigenous Peoples Month, and with Thanksgiving next week. So should we take one question from the audience? Does anyone have a question? Well, it's so exciting. Goose. No burning question? I can keep going. Sure.
How much did you two practice?
Quite a bit.
Six times? We met 6 times to get together. That's a lot for one song.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with the song? Had you been familiar with her while she was poet laureate, or it was a new name to me when I saw it?
Oh, the poem was selected by the board of Matinee Musicale. And they handed me a brilliant poem that I enjoyed setting to music so much. And I felt they wanted it to be really a poem that defines Duluth in the 125th anniversary. And so I was setting out in my musical sounds to also try to represent the magic of Duluth. So that is why I made 9s against 4, and I'm so sorry.
It was magical, though. It worked. Thank you so much. Really beautiful. Incredible. Join us again. Thank you.